Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast. My name is Amir. Before I get started on today's episode, just want to thank everybody for supporting the podcast on Spotify as well as supporting the podcast on YouTube. So if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. So for today's episode, I want to talk about a report that came out from Barry Jackson stating that the Miami Heat are interested in signing free agent DeMar DeRozan to a contract, and it's also mutual. DeMar DeRozan is also interested in potentially joining the Miami Heat. So DeMar DeRozan is a unrestricted free agent. He was with the Chicago Bulls and last season made $28.6 million. And he's 34 years old, soon to be 35 years old. So same age as Jimmy Butler. And he's an unrestricted free agent. He's not going to go back to the Chicago Bulls. And apparently he's interested in the Miami Heat, but we have absolutely no cap space as we're a first apron team once we fill out the rest of our roster spots. But we have no money at all. So I don't know the likelihood of DeMar DeRozan actually joining the Miami Heat. Also, I am just a pessimistic Heat fan now. Over the last few years, we've been linked and tied to so many players within trade conversations as well as from free agents, perhaps signing with the Miami Heat, and we've missed out on so many people. But apparently, there's mutual interest. But Barry Jackson also said the Los Angeles Lakers are obviously interested, and we know DeMar is from LA, and he's always wanted to go back home to LA. So I feel like it's more likely that he would go to Los Angeles versus the Heat. But either way, there's interest there. And if there is interest there, and if there's a way the Miami Heat can get him to join this Miami Heat team as a free agent, even if it's for 1 year or 2 years, they have to do it. Um, all these teams around us have been making really good moves this offseason. The Knicks added Bridges, like I've said before. PG-13 is now on the Sixers. Just other teams are just adding different assets and building strength and building their supporting casts. And the Miami Heat have not had that opportunity because, again, we don't have money to sign free agents right now. Most of our acquisitions have to come through trades. But is DeMar willing to take the veterans minimum? I don't believe that is the case. Otherwise, he would be already on this Miami Heat team. If he was willing to accept that, the Heat would give that to him and he would have already been signed. So I'm not sure what kind of contract value he's looking at and what he's actually worth. I know going into this offseason, he said he wanted a lucrative contract, but things can change. Can we convince him to get the mid-level exception, which is around $5.2 million? Again, I don't know. I doubt it. I expected him to want to sign for at least $25 million per year. I mean, he made 28 last year, so that even that is a pay cut because of his age, but his productivity is still there. Like, he's still a really good offensive player. Like last year with the Bulls, 24 points per game. He had 5 assists, 4 rebounds. He shot 48% from the field, 33% from three, and shot 85% from the line. He averaged 1 steal a game. More importantly, he played 79 games. He played more than anybody on the Miami Heat roster last year at age 34. Durability is not an issue with him right now. He played 74 games the season before and averaged 25 points. And at age 32, 76 games and averaged 28 points per game with the Bulls. So 28, 25, and 24. Those are his scoring averages the last 3 seasons when he was with the Chicago Bulls. So he is, again, going to be someone that can help us offensively during the regular season while Jimmy coasts. And he doesn't fit this team essentially because, again, he's a mid-range scorer. He's not a three-point threat. Can't really spread the floor. So he operates in the same space that Bam and Jimmy does. But at this point, who cares? We need star power. We need all-star talent. We need guys who can average 24, 25 points per game. I mean, Jimmy Butler, the most he's averaged in his career is like 23 points or 24 points. DeMar's done it. He's averaged 27 and 28 points per game multiple times in his career. So I think you take the risk and you put him on this roster, even though he's not the best fit. You just need to reshuffle the deck and add good players onto this roster. And he's still a good player. He is a bucket and he is clutch and he tries on defense still, even though he's 34 years old. and he's someone that can help the Miami Heat win some games in the regular season. Pair him up with Eric Spoelstra, and he has the best coach in the NBA. I'm sure he can find a way to make it work with Jimmy Bam and DeMar. If he takes the minimum or the MLE, that would be huge. But again, if that does not work out, the other avenues is that the Miami Heat then have to trade a Terry Rozier, Duncan Robinson, or Tyler Hero to a team that has salary space, like the Utah Jazz or the Detroit Pistons, excuse me. And those teams would have to give us some sort of asset or a good player. I was saying you can't really get a really good player, but a good player that's making significantly less um, than a Tyler, than a Terry, than a Duncan. And so we get some cap relief, and then we can offer DeMar a bigger contract. But at that point, is DeMar the free agent that we want, or do we want to pursue getting a Brandon Ingram or getting a Lowry Markkinen if possible? But again, all these routes are going to be super difficult. Even though DeMar said he wants to play for the Heat or has interest, how many people have said they wanted to play for Miami and we still weren't able to work it out? So as long as he is willing to take a vets min deal or the MLE, I don't know how we're going to add him, but if we could figure it out, do it. We need to do it. I would like DeMar DeRozan on this roster, especially since we have Jimmy and we're not giving up on the Jimmy Butler build. We're going into year 6 of the build. So things need to change. It's getting stale. Can't keep playing out there with the same core with minimal moves and minimal restructuring um, of this team and think we're going to actually compete when all these other teams are making major moves. But either way, we'll see what happens. Plenty of offseason, like I said in my last video. We have a lot of time left. If it doesn't work out through free agency, then hopefully we can get one of those guys that can move the needle to a certain degree via trade. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.